Hello, my friends. I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table. And we're looking at little Missy here. She decided to come up here and make some demands of her some attention, right? So I'm paying rent to use the table, right? Is that right? How about you come down here? We don't keep you off that laptop, right? All right. Yeah, this is a very nice, very friendly kitty, although still a little high strung and still very nervous around the rest of the house cats. Yeah, got my hair cut, on the personal front. Y'all, my only outlet, so sorry about that. Uh, Spring's coming. I don't think we're going to have any serious problems with the severe cold for the rest of this part of the year. I might get surprised. This is Iowa. We have had worse stuff in March than that. So, but I went ahead and got the mop cut off. I feel a little better. Unfortunately, last week I think I made some mention in a previous video. The water pump went out on my work truck. We just spent about 12 grand on getting a new transmission replaced back 2 months back or so, and then we took this in for that. And the people who did the work on the water pump called us back and said we needed to take the truck to International. And they ran some tests on it, and it come back with its blow by is within like 0.6% of failure rate. And I didn't know what that was. I kind of took a little crash course on it. Something about the oil pressure inside and keeping the rings and the pistons in condition, so they're wearing out, and that's causing problems in addition to other problems. $27,000. $27,000 to rebuild the motor. Plus, you add that what we paid in 2 months ago. It's almost what they paid for the truck. Now, the downside of buying used vehicles is you don't know jack about used vehicles. The other downside is if you listen to these heavy mechanics, a lot of this commercial equipment, commercial trucks and stuff, are not really rated for more than 4 or 5 years before needing a complete rebuild. I mean, at the end of the day, just about everything wears out within a couple 100,000 miles and or 5 years. And when you're talking commercial trucks, that couple 100,000 miles is nothing, right? It's a race to see which one you hit, the 5 year mark or the mileage mark, either way. And then my truck makes it worse because we use a PTO system to run the pumps, which means whenever I'm somewhere doing a job, the truck's in idle, but it's idled up. So you turn the RPMs up on the motor to about 1100, 1200, and then however long it takes. So some of them big deep ones that can take 45 minutes to an hour to pull stuff out of, especially when you're getting toward the bottom of it. So you're out there for an hour, just an hour plus, just hammering away, and not just idling, but idling, under a load. So, and it just doesn't end there. So yesterday, for some reason, my right foot's been bothering me for a couple months now, but yesterday it swelled up pretty good. It's looking pretty gnarly right now. Yesterday, I'd say by evening time, it was very swollen and tight feeling, and out of a 10, I'd say it was in the 4 to 5 category for discomfort. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about it until technically Monday, tomorrow, but I'm committed to go do some hood jobs with the truck down. I got to get hours somehow, so I'll go out with one of the hood guys to go do some hood jobs. Talking 2 of them tomorrow during the day, and it could be a 10-12 hour day. I don't know how far away these jobs are, because I'm just going along to help, so I'm hoping. I let my employers know, because I don't want them crying that I didn't let them know I had a problem before I went on the job. So I'll go out on this job unless they say otherwise, and then go see the doctor on Tuesday if I can get in, right? If I can get in. That's the kind of the way that goes. And anyway, I'm having a great week. How are you, right? Yeah. Just I don't even want to think of the worst scenarios of something needing surgery or something on my foot. That would be very bad. Geez. Anyway, so I was just finishing up this yesterday. It's the era report for 3062. This would be the era where FASA died. At the end of the day, FASA failed or went under and was acquired by FanPro at the very tail end of this era, when some things were left unexplained or unconcluded, or not concluded to our satisfaction, even though they still kept putting out product that they had in the works. It was still becoming less reliable, and there was a lot more confusion. And at the time, when the company usually goes under like that, like I said, it's really easy to just throw your hands up and walk away, because who's going to revitalize it, who's going to buy them, kind of thing. And yet that we get proven wrong on occasion, and here we are 40 odd years later, and 3 different owners later, game's still going, and people are still putting fresh content out and making a profit doing so, which is the whole point of it. So we look at the era itself, and I thought it was pretty intense. There was a whole lot of stuff going on inside stuff. We've got the Battle of Tukayyid, where the clans are fought to a 15-year truce. This sets up a lot of internal conflict within the clans, but something very unique to the Inner Sphere at the time, the Inner Sphere was still united enough under the Star League banner concept to push forward a decisive agenda to end the clan threat for eternity, which we all know is bullshit, because that's not what you're not going to deter the clans from the damn goal that the clans have set up. So anyway, they Operation Let's Kill the Smoke Jaguars takes place, and this shows great success for the participants in the conquest. The house forces here at home brutalized the Smoke Jaguars occupation zone, and took pretty much rolled over what was left behind. And the bulk of the elite elements of the Smoke Jaguar clan were back home or en route to home. When the Inner Sphere Star League led air contingent arrived over Huntress and proceeded to literally kick the teeth in of these these pretty vicious clan yahoos. So we see a stamp paid, which also sends notice to all the clans, both the ones that participated in the Inner Spheres and the one at home, especially the ones homes were woke up to the fact that they were not invulnerable. The Inner Sphere can come and get them. They're not beyond reach of retribution if things don't quite go the way it ought to go. So meanwhile, what's going on while this is, the death of the Smoke Jaguars is going on, we also see this what they call it, refusal war, this conflict of policies and ideologies, and wit versus rage in many ways. So with the Inner Sphere busy in systematically destroying the clan Smoke Jaguars, the clan Wolf and clan Jade Falcon basically went to war with each other, and they fought some pretty heavy duty conflicts over the trial refusal against the Battle of Tukayyid altogether. And obviously Clan Wolf was successful, but in the process it was also shattered. Part of it broke off and became Clan Wolf in exile, and which sets a whole yet another faction loose on the Inner Sphere. And then there's the Warden, or the Crusader half of the Clan Wolf, which is now in damage control mode, trying to retain their position of authority and or prominence when they've now clearly a diminished clan. Then there's other things that are going on at this time. Like I said, Operation Bulldog, when they basically roll up the occupation zone. Then there's the St. Ives War. While a lot of this other crap's going on, the Chancellor starts to starts poking away at the St. Ives, right? And it's pretty clever and insidious the way it worked out, and eventually they fell apart. We get the beginning of the bear and the horse conflict, and then we have the Combine Dominion War. So at this point, while the other houses, after the Battle of Tukayyid, it doesn't take very long for Clan Snow Bear to settle down into deciding the inner sphere is where the clan belongs. So they shipped the entire population of their clan and resources as much as they could from the homeworlds to the inner sphere to their occupation zone, and then they worked up a deal with Razahu. You know, I can never pronounce it. Even when I figured out how to pronounce it, I still stumble over it. Here, it's been a while since you know, the Razahog, that, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, probably for the first time in its entire existence, this group of people has got a solid defense, and they're pairing up with the Ghost Bears. So then we end up with the you know, Dominion. So the Dominion, of course, immediately goes into conflict with the Combine, has a little bit of piston match. But probably the biggest and most devastating thing for inner-sphere politics and inner-sphere cooperation is the beginnings of the Fed-Crom Civil War. Because while Victor Steiner Devon was off, you know, in charge of the operation to go to Huntress and wipe out the Smoke Jaguars and to serve novas to the rest of the clans that the Inner Sphere was done playing with them, his sister took every opportunity to undermine their two younger siblings and to cause chaos back home for personal gain and power. And, you know, it is assumed, it's hypothesized that she may have had something to do with her mother's untimely death. There's no proof of it that anybody's willing to share openly anyway. And, you know, so Katrina was not the most popular of leaders, but she was charismatic and she was part of the family, and she did have a solid core of followers, mostly those from the old House Steiner. So, you know, the Illyrian Alliance comes up out of the FedCom, and so you got this broken federated Commonwealth with most of the Commonwealth part of it now becoming an alliance, and the remaining part of the FedCom Commonwealth too stubborn to let go of that moniker and just go back to calling themselves the Federated whatever. So anyway, this just kind of sets the market for what's going to go and turn into a pretty brutal slugfest. And it did. Caused a lot of changes to the dynamics of the inner sphere. Now, that said, one of the things we don't know and may never know, although I'm sure there are a handful of people who used to work at FASA who has an idea of what the plan forward might have been at that time. So, you know, where we could have been, where we didn't go, that kind of stuff, we'll never know. So we go through the various factions. We'll talk about the Federated Commonwealth, Draconis Combine, Comstar, which is suffering its own schisms and issues as the Word of Blake finally starts breaking free completely and starts entrenching itself in the Free Worlds League and other locations in the periphery, which then become you know, a sudden catalyst for a much bigger problem coming down the road. Magistrate Canopus, some of our periphery powers are becoming more active on the inner sphere stage, and none more or less than the Canopans, because not only did they send a contingent with the Star League Task Force to Huntress, and the daughter of their leader was leading that contingent and gave her life for the inner sphere. There's a growing relationship between the younger daughter and Zun Zhao, the Chancellor of the Confederation. Anyway, so we got the Free Worlds League, which is at this point is still probably in its most successful quote golden age in many centuries. It hasn't had any internal conflicts worth, and has had no external threats at all in probably 50 years since the end of the Fourth Succession, or the skirmishing after the Fourth Succession War. After the War of 30-39 era. The rest of the time, everybody was, up to their necks with the clans, and then from that, the free worlds benefited by becoming the armory of the rest of the Inner Sphere, surpassing even the house, the Lyrans for production quotas. And this meant that they have the free world's military is top notch, well equipped, moderately trained, because they've got several generations of warriors who have not been blooded on the battlefield on any significant numbers. But we're having internal issues with Word of Blake and the false Merrick Thomas, depending on who and how your opinions on that would be. So, compelling confederation, of course. One of the other things that came to bear here is the death of Romano Liao. When she died, this took a drastic change for the way things going to work for the Confederation for the next 30-40 years, because their son is a hell of a lot more sane than his mother, and so he immediately changed some of her less than ideal policies and enacted some others, and reinforced a few that his mother did put in, because he realized their value in a different menu. And from there, he begins this slow but steady rebirth of the Confederation and its military specifically, regaining portions of itself with that whole intentions of regaining everything that they lost prior to the Fourth Succession War, kind of stuff. So, in part, he also dances with this detente with the Confederation and the Free Worlds League by offering to marry Isis Merrick, even though he's not intending to do that anyway, and then later offers to marry Dany Centrella, the daughter of the Major of Canopus, and then there's the limited attempt to bring the Turns into the mix, and so on. So. And of course, the various factions going on in the periphery, the Marians, which are becoming more and more potent with each decade. They're slowly growing. Then we get into some of the clan factions and what's going on with them, And then we get into the people bio section. Various characters and their artwork. Most of them only crop up in the novels, but they all serve a role and a purpose, and make for some great flavor for the game, in my opinion. Some era tracks, mission recon, mission ambush, war chest point system, clan invasion campaign, blah blah, touch point Lille, touch point Wutan, and then we got playing in 3062. So, some much needed or desired information if you don't know much about the era itself. These era books are real nice. I mean, I think they're a good investment. Really is a good way to get an overview of a specific era. And I'm just saying, hey, it's great. Till next time, you guys have yourself a great weekend. Yeah, right. It just irritates me to know.